Imagine you're recalling a vivid memory, perhaps a childhood birthday party or a significant event from last week. It feels solid, real, like you're simply replaying a video in your mind. But what if I told you that your memory isn't a perfect recording device? What if every time you remember something, you're not just retrieving facts, but actively constructing a story, often influenced by something you might not even be aware of, your expectations? Welcome. Today we're diving into a fascinating area of cognitive psychology, how our expectations profoundly shape our memories, and consequently, the evidence we rely on. We'll explore why understanding these expectation effects isn't just an academic exercise, but a crucial insight for navigating our daily lives, and even for systems as critical as the law. At its core, an expectation effect is a type of cognitive bias, a systematic deviation from purely objective judgment. Our brains are incredibly efficient, constantly trying to make sense of the world, and they do this by creating mental shortcuts and making predictions. This efficiency, while generally helpful, can also subtly alter what we perceive, how we store information, and what we eventually remember. These effects can either sharpen or blur our recall, or even change the content of our memories entirely. Think of your brain not as a camera, but as an active historian. When a new event happens, it doesn't just record it. Instead, it interprets that event through the lens of what it already knows and what it expects to happen. This process plays out during both the encoding phase, when we first learn or experience something, and the retrieval phase, when we try to recall it later. Interestingly, research suggests that things that surprise us, unexpected stimuli, tend to stick out more, leading to a more detailed, conscious recollection. You remember the one time your quiet neighbor threw a huge, loud party, much more than all the other quiet evenings. Conversely, expected events often just blend in, giving us a general sense of familiarity with crisp details. One of the most powerful tools our brain uses for this interpretation is what psychologists call schemas. Schemas are like mental folders or frameworks in our long-term memory that organize our knowledge about the world. They're built from all our past experiences and learning, and they guide our expectations. For instance, you have a restaurant schema that tells you to expect a menu, a server, food, and a bill. When you enter a restaurant, your brain already has a script ready. The challenge arises because our memory naturally tries to fit new information into these existing schemas. This tendency is deeply tied to something called confirmation bias, our inclination to seek out, interpret, and remember information that confirms what we already believe, while often overlooking or downplaying anything that contradicts it. If you believe your friend is always late, you're more likely to remember the times they kept you waiting, and less likely to notice the times they were on time, subtly reinforcing your initial belief. Now, where this gets really impactful and sometimes troubling is in the realm of false memories. Our expectations, often subtly planted, can be a significant factor in recalling events that simply didn't happen, or remembering them inaccurately. Iconic work by researchers like Elizabeth Loftus and John Palmer has dramatically shown how something as seemingly innocuous as the phrasing of a question can introduce an expectation that reshapes a person's memory. In a classic study, participants watched videos of car accidents. When asked how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other, they estimated higher speeds and were more likely to later recall seeing broken glass, even though there was none, than those asked how fast were the cars going when they contacted each other. The word smashed set an expectation, altering their memory.
This doesn't just happen with dramatic events like accidents. It also underlies the well-known placebo and nocebo effects, demonstrating how powerful our expectations are on our bodies and minds. Positive expectations, the placebo effect, can genuinely improve cognitive functions, even working memory, simply because we believe something will help us. Conversely, negative expectations, the nocebo effect, can diminish performance. Think of someone expecting a difficult exam to go badly. Their anxiety and negative expectation might actively hinder their ability to recall information, regardless of how much they studied. These are not imaginary effects. They are tangible, measurable impacts on our cognitive and physiological states. So, what's happening in our brains? Our neural pathways are actively mediating these expectation effects. When we encounter something unexpected, certain brain regions like the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory, light up and connect more strongly with other areas. This suggests our brain pays extra attention to the novel, working harder to process and remember it. There's also fascinating research on expectancy-based binding, which explores how our expectations actually influence how our brain links together different pieces of sensory information to form a coherent memory. If we expect to see certain features together, our brain is more likely to bind them that way, even if the reality was slightly different. And here's a curious twist. While schemas and expectations often lead us to confirm what we already know, Our brains also seem to give special treatment to things that violate our expectations. Information that's inconsistent with our existing schemas or simply stands out is often recalled more easily and extensively. This is sometimes called the von Rustorf effect or distinctiveness effect. If you have a list of ordinary words and one word is highlighted in a strange color or font, you'll almost certainly remember that distinct word more than the others. Our brains are designed to pay attention to novelties, to things that don't fit the expected pattern, as these might signal something important or even a threat. Understanding these expectation effects isn't just for academics like Elizabeth Loftus or Sir Frederick Bartlett, who pioneered schema theory. It's profoundly significant for areas where memory accuracy is paramount. Consider the justice system. The inherent fallibility of human memory, especially its vulnerability to expectation-induced changes, challenges the very reliability of eyewitness testimony. The possibility of leading questions from law enforcement or prosecutors inadvertently influencing a witness's memory is a major concern, potentially leading to wrongful convictions. Another contentious area is therapy-induced memory recovery, particularly concerning traumatic memories. While therapy is invaluable, there's a serious ethical debate about whether therapists, by setting specific expectations, might unintentionally plant false memories in vulnerable individuals. Landmark cases have highlighted the profound and damaging consequences when such concerns arise. Similarly, even highly trained experts, like forensic specialists or medical professionals, aren't immune to cognitive biases. Their expert testimonies can be unconsciously swayed by external factors or expectations, raising questions about impartiality. So, what's the takeaway? Our memories are not static recordings. They are dynamic, reconstructive processes, heavily influenced by our expectations, beliefs, and mental frameworks. This understanding doesn't mean our memories are useless. It means we need to approach them, and the evidence derived from them, with informed awareness and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
The field continues to evolve, with researchers seeking to understand how durable these expectation-induced changes are, and how we can best identify individuals most susceptible to negative expectations. The ongoing challenge is to develop evidence-based strategies that can harness the power of positive mindsets for cognitive benefit, while mitigating the sometimes detrimental impacts of our biases. By simply being aware that our expectations are constantly at play, shaping our reality and our recollections, we can become more discerning observers of our own minds and the world around us. It's a journey not just into psychology, but into a deeper understanding of ourselves. Thank you for joining me.